So which Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrance should you buy? Well, I'm going to tell you if you want to stick around. But recently I got a question sent to me, and they were asking me which Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrance they should buy, and they named 3 fragrances. One of them is Boy, Chanel Boy. The other one is Chanel Coromandel. And then the other one is Chanel number 18. 3 completely different fragrances from the House of Chanel from their Les Exclusifs collection. I was like, wow, these are so different. I don't really know how to answer this because I don't know what your taste is like. I don't know how much experience you have with fragrances, so it's a little challenging to just say go with this one because I like all 3 of them, but my latest love is number 18. I really am obsessed with this one. As you can see, I love wearing it. But I really couldn't answer. I thought, you know what, I think this needs a lot more explanation, and I'll put together a video to explain all the fragrances, the 3 fragrances that they were trying to find out about, and perhaps let you guys decide on your own after you hear about them. So if you want to find out about these 3 fragrances from the Les Exclusifs collection by Chanel, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time tuning into the channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So yeah, I got this question and I thought, you know, to my head, I'm like, I could say which fragrance I would recommend, but then again, you know, I step back and I go, okay, I don't really know how much experience this person has with fragrances. One of the fragrances, number 18, is probably the most challenging. One of them is pretty easily accessible. So I thought, let's put together this video. That way it'll help everyone, including him, and then also let you guys learn a little bit about these 3 fragrances. Also, if you have any questions to yourselves and you want me to do a video, you're welcome to send me a question at lfsgquestions@gmail.com. And if I feel like the video, if I feel like the question is enough content for one video, I will do that. Or maybe do a video of multiple questions in a long format video. So send me the questions and we'll see if there's anything in there that I'll do another video like this for. But let's get to the question again. Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances. Which one should I buy first? Chanel Boy, Coromandel, or Chanel number 18? 3 completely different fragrances from this house. But a little about the Chanel Les Exclusifs collection. They are $350 for this size, 200 ml bottles. EDP concentration, they used to be EDT. They got redone in 2016 after they launched with Boy as an EDP. Then they decided to redo the fragrances, reformulate them, and then create them into EDPs in 2016. So they started hitting the market at the end of 2016, early 2017 as EDPs. So the first one, as I said, was Boy. But their 350 EDP concentration, you can find them at Chanel boutiques. In this city, in San Francisco, you can get them at our Neiman Marcus store. They're there. They have a huge Chanel department, and you can go there and get all the Chanel fragrances you want, including the Les Exclusifs. So, Chanel Boy, I think probably, definitely is the most easier to access out of the 3 fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about. Chanel Boy is an aromatic fougere. It's created by Olivier Polge, launched in 2016, originally as EDP. With the notes here, you've got grapefruit, lavender, lemons at the top. In the heart, you got geranium, orange blossom, rose, and in the base, you got tonka beans, heliotrope, sandalwood, vanilla, oakmoss, and musk. Now, this is typically fougères are more masculine offerings, and I feel like this is very chameleon-esque kind of an aromatic fougere. I feel like a man might smell it and they go, it's a little bit on the feminine side for an aromatic fougere, and then a woman might smell it and they go, it's a little bit on the masculine side for an aromatic fougere. I'm absolutely in love with it. It smells great. It is great smelling aromatic fougere with a major Chanel DNA. Like, as soon as I put my nose on it, I get this like aldehydic Chanel DNA in the background, even though aldehydes are not mentioned. It takes me back to when my mom and my grandmother used to wear Chanel back in the day, and smelling that But it is all about lavender, because the lavender in here is very, very prominent. And once you get past that Chanel DNA, I feel like this is the easiest one out of all three of these for you to try first. Now, I recommend you getting samples of all these fragrances before you buy a full bottle, or if you can go to a store and sample it, that's probably the best thing you can do. But personally, I feel like this is the easiest one out of all of them. It's an aromatic fougere, and it's got lots of lavender. It does have tonka beans, and typically with fougere, you have tonka beans in the base. This one also has oak moss, and with chypres, it's traditionally oak moss in the base, but this one has oak moss and tonka beans in the base, but lots of lavender, along with some geranium. And this one actually hints to me at a little bit of Hermes Equipage Geranium. It just kind of reminds me of the Geranium and Equipage Geranium that is in here. So they kind of have similarities. I'm not sure if Equipage Geranium from Hermes is aromatic fougere. It might be, but the geranium note in here reminds me of that geranium note in Equipage Geranium, and I think Equipage Geranium was launched around 2015, so a little before this one. But this one, I think, as I said, it just is kind of sort of chameleon-esque. I really think it's a very, very unisex fragrance. The only thing that I feel like causes a little more that chameleon-esque styling is that Chanel DNA. I feel like the Chanel DNA is the most prominent in here out of all three of them, even though you can smell it in the other two. And that might actually kind of maybe put off some people. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. I really love it. And this is my second bottle. Even though I didn't use up the whole entire bottle, I split it with some people, but I really love this one. I feel like it's also very, very classy. It's an all year round fragrance, signature fragrance. Somebody that is into classy fragrances can pull this off. So it's a great fragrance. It's all about lavender, tonka beans, geranium, really, really lovely stuff. So that is Boy, and again, that's probably the most universal one, the easiest one to access. Then we're going to go to Chanel Coromandel. So Coromandel was originally launched in 2007, created by Jacques Polge, the father or grandfather, no, I think it's father of Olivier Polge, who created Boy. It got redone into an EDP in 2016. Originally it launched as an EDT. There is a pure perfume edition of this as well, and I don't have it. And today we're only talking about EDP versions of all three of the fragrances. So Jacques Polge, I guess Chanel likes to keep the perfumers in the same family, so now the son is doing the fragrances, and it used to be Jacques Polge. So this one has top notes of citrus, neroli, bitter orange. In the heart you've got jasmine, rose, patchouli, orris butter. In the base you've got incense, benzoin, amber, woody notes, musk, olibanum, white chocolate. So I feel like this is the number two. I feel like this is not as easy for people to access, and the only reason I felt like that was because of the patchouli note in here. This is a lot about patchouli. In fact, we did a video recently of my favorite patchouli fragrances where Dahlia ranked it, and she put this kind of at the bottom. I feel like you can't really add everything at the top, so she had to kind of like number everything, and this one ended up at the bottom. So I think some of you were a little upset, those of you that are like true Chanel fans or whatever. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous scent. It is really, really delicious. It's white chocolate with patchouli. More prominent is the patchouli. It's a very effervescent and sparkly patchouli. The sparkles and the lights going off, I experience that when I wear it. Crystals shining and things like that with this patchouli. And the white chocolate in here is, it's not dark chocolate, obviously, and I feel like they completely have different smells. For me, white chocolate has a more buttery, kind of milky smell, minus the darkness of the chocolate. There's nothing about chocolate in here. In fact, sometimes I mention things like really intense patchouli fragrances like psychedelic, things like that have a chocolate cakiness. This one does not have that. This one is more butter milkiness with a sweet, creamy fondue-like experience rather than dark chocolate. But it is a match made in heaven. The two notes, the white chocolate and the patchouli, are top-notch here. Very, very quality. It's a phenomenal release. I feel like it's amazing, but I think what might turn people off are patchouli. I think there are those patchouli lovers like me, Dahlia, and a few other people I know, and there is the patchouli haters. So if you hate patchouli, then this might be a little challenging for you because, as I said, it's all about patchouli. But if you love patchouli, then, you know, I might recommend this one to you first over Boy, because even though Boy is an aromatic fougere, some women don't like that fougere kind of a fragrance, and then that might complicate it. So this is challenging, a little more challenging than Boy because of the patchouli note. So if you like patchouli, as I said, try this one. If you don't, then stay away from it. Although I would just get samples of all three to test them out and see how they are or what they are like, because you might hate a note, but you might like it, you know, intermingled or combined or put together with other notes. It might smell amazing. So don't give up on a fragrance. Don't judge a book by its cover just because it has patchouli and you hate patchouli, if that makes sense. Or just because it's an aromatic fougere and you hate fougeres. Give it a try. Because a lot of women do like this one and a lot of men do like it, and some men don't and some women don't. So it all depends. I think testing them out first is key. So this is Coromandel. Amazing fragrance. I absolutely love it. This was my #1 Chanel for a long time. It still is great. So anyway, Coromandel. One thing I forgot to mention about these three fragrances, there was, when these fragrances all got reformulated in 2016, a lot of purists and real perfume lovers that are like obsessed with perfumes were really like putting up their nose against these fragrances because they got reformulated, and I was one of them. But you know what? They're gone and no longer available, so we can't really do anything about it. I mean, so either enjoy them as they are or don't enjoy them at all. And some of you that have never sampled the EDTs will never know about them. And there are, like I said, the purists will come next to you and say, oh, I had the EDT and I loved it so much more. It was so much better than what it is now. Well, we don't have them anymore, so we're going to have to enjoy what we have, and this is what we have now, and we might as well enjoy it. Maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, that is something I wanted to make sure to let you guys know about. But moving on to Chanel number 18, I feel like this is the most challenging of the three fragrances that were asked about. Chanel number 18 originally was launched in 2007, redone in 2016 as an EDP, used to be an EDT. Once again, it's Jacques Polge who created this fragrance, the father of the guy who did Boy, Olivier Polge. This one is all about ambrette seeds. So if you like the idea of ambrette seeds, musk mallow, then you might like this one. Ambrette seeds are used to create a musk accord or musky fragrance, and this one is all about ambrette seeds. And ambrette seeds tend to go fruity. There's lots of fruity nuances with ambrette seeds. With this one, it's ultra fruity and it's also ultra boozy. So it's like a fruit booze with this like medicinal ambrette. Like this is very, very medicinal to me. It's ultra medicinal. And I feel like this would make it a little challenging for someone who's not used to conventional fragrances, I guess, traditional fragrances, because that medicinal touch I feel like could rub people the wrong way. Anyway, if you like the idea of woody touches with that ambrette, fruity touches with that ambrette, the boozy touches with that ambrette, and then there's also a powdery touch of iris in here, and the medicinal thing going on with the whole fragrance, then you might like this one. To me, it does hint a little bit at Egoist from Chanel, a little bit. Because the woody notes in here, I believe, are sandalwood, and that ambrette, which is also prominent or exists in Egoist, the combo of those gives me a Egoist kind of vibe, but more, it gives, it's a little more closer to ambrette 18, I believe, from Le Labo. I think it's ambrette 18, but definitely there's the ambrette from Le Labo. This one reminds me of. Also, Fleur de Peau from Diptyque, this one reminds me of. Santal Noir from Christian Dior, this one reminds me of, has the similar kind of ambrette and sandalwood combo thing happening that it kind of reminds me of, but this one I'm absolutely head over heels for. This is my latest discovery, although I do have 1957 from the Chanel Les Exclusifs as well, but still, this one, I just love the way it smells. That medicinal touch, like you're opening up a medicine chest or medicine cabinet and you take a whiff with, you know, ambrette and fruity notes and booze and iris and woody touches. It just kind of reminds me of that, and I love it. And I love it. It's lasts a long time for a Chanel. It's a Les Exclusifs after all, and just the unique touch. I mean, my nose palette has appreciates a lot of different smells, and I like the uniqueness. And the uniqueness about this is the whole medicinal touch that it gives it to me, and I really love it. I brought this one back from Gatwick Airport in London, and over at that airport, of course, there's no tax, but this was really inexpensive there. They have a whole Chanel boutique at the airport, and the fragrances are really, really like low priced. And this one I bought there, and I've been happy since then. And this is how much I've used of this. It is a strong fragrance. It does actually kind of choke you if you spray too much as well. Just that medicine touch kind of like maybe could be choking. But to me, it's a to die for kind of fragrance. But I feel like this one leans a little more feminine, even though it's all medicinal. And I feel like this one's the most challenging out of the three. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to just blind buy this one. I think test first. Either go to a store that sells these fragrances or get yourself some samples or decants, because this one, it might sound great, then you buy it and you get it and it's like, oh man, what is that smell? It smells like medicine, because it does. You might not know anything about ambrette seeds, and you might think, okay, seeds of some kind, and maybe it's earthy, maybe it's nutty or fruity or whatever, and it's exactly not what you're going to get here. It's definitely fruity though, because the fruitiness is in here. It's a huge fruity note in here. You can't really tell like the kind of fruits, but it could be like, you know, stone fruit, like peaches, apricots, plums. They're not really like prominent, like you can't really tell. It just has this fruity touch, fruit, booze, and medicine touch. So I think this is the least one to recommend to someone right off the bat. Anyway, that's Chanel number 18. And those are the three fragrances. So if you were looking into these three fragrances and you watched this video, which of the three do you think you would go for now that you know about these three fragrances? The Boy or Coromandel or Chanel number 18? Let me know, put some comments down. Also, let me know if you have these fragrances. Have you tried them? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Because you're not going to like everything, but maybe you are. I don't know. Let me know. Put some comments down. Let me find out what you think about these fragrances. And also, if you have any questions for me that you want me to do a video about, if there's enough content to do a video about, send them to lfsgquestions@gmail.com, and I'll hope to put together as many videos as I can for all your questions. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching this video on Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances Boy, Coromandel, and number 18. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.